Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to this channel. I honestly, on my heart, did not know I was going to be making this video. The information dropped in last Sunday. I'm recording this on Friday, the 23rd of February. So I've been sitting on this information for a few days. Also because I wanted to maintain the portal for Julian Assange. And thank you very much for all of those of you that have followed my work with that. I don't believe we will have a decision today or tomorrow. I think they have to submit papers, the defence and the prosecution, and they've got till March the 4th to do that. So it might take a little while, but when there is a decision either way, I'll come back and say something. Anyhow, that's not what we're talking about in this video. We're going to talk about the legend of King Arthur, the Round Table, and is it about to be reassembled? I'm going to talk about what do I actually mean by King Arthur coming back, because it's very similar to people that are expecting Jesus to be walking back down the street in 2024 or 2034 or whenever it is that you're expecting to see him. I don't believe that will happen. I believe instead that there will be a return of Christ consciousness, which isn't isolated to just one individual that carries that. It is and will be in many of us. But there will be amongst us some that carry that energy and lead with it to show others what it is and that they can pick it up within themselves. So too, the Arthurian energy is quite similar to that. It's not necessarily that King Arthur is going to be resurrected from the dead and walk amongst us again. It is that somebody, I believe, at this pivotal point in our history, is carrying a lot of the Arthurian energy, but does not have his round table around him at the moment, which is a big reason why there are so many issues within the royal family. I'm talking about Prince William. I'm going to tell you how this information came to me, because it came in very unexpectedly. So shall we begin? Before we begin, can I also just say, if you really don't like the royal family, if you want to see them disbanded, disregarded, relegated to a distant memory in history, you're welcome to have that opinion, but you're probably not going to get much out of this video. So please just come back to the next video that I do. You're going to miss an interesting one here, but this is really for people that are interested in Arthurian mythology, interested in maybe what William's destiny might be, and also interested in what I might have to say that I believe Spirit has given me to say in this video. So let's keep it clean, let's keep it polite, let's keep it civil, because the Knights of the Round Table, whether you believe William is going to reform that or not, the Knights of the Round Table as an energy is about dignity, honour, chivalry, all sorts of beautiful, noble qualities that ultimately, if we carry that Arthurian energy, we also have to practice day in, day out in our words, our actions, etc., just as we do with Christ consciousness. So let me tell you how this all began. It was last Sunday. Now, those of you that follow me know that I've done a few videos on the royal family recently because there is a crisis point there. I'm not going to be talking about Kate in this video. I will come back and look at Kate again. I have done a video on her when there is an update, an official update or something new to say, okay? So again, let's just park Kate lovingly for a moment, because I'm not ignoring what's going on with her. I've already spoken on it in terms of what I believe is going on, that she's very unwell and she just needs time to heal, and also that there probably are issues within their marriage at the moment. That needs to be either brought to a head between the two of them, or they need to be able to reconcile in private their own personal difficulties. Okay, so I'm not going to be talking about that either in this video. I've done that already. You can look back on my channel. But sending love to Kate, absolutely. Right, let's go back then. How did all this come about? Yeah, I've done a video recently on William, and I can't remember what I called it, but I was basically implying and stating in that video that what I was getting was that he was struggling to fulfill his destiny. His first public appearance, which now is a few weeks ago, where he had to give out medals, people that have received CBEs, OBEs, whatever, had been invited to Buckingham Palace. The sovereign then hands out the medals. That would have been Charles, but of course Charles is ill, couldn't do it, so William stepped in. It was the first time we'd seen him since all this business with Kate, and they're just not visible. And I did a video and I said he looked very nervous. I also felt he had high anxiety, self-soothing technique when you're rocking back and forward, shaking, dropping the medals, all sorts of things. I read on all that, okay? So I thought, okay, done that. Don't need to comment any further on it. I've given my opinion. And then what happened was, I think a week later, he had to do a second or third public appearance. And it was to appear at the BAFTAs. The BAFTAs are a bit like they are the British Oscars. Prince William and Kate Middleton every year go. So it is a date in the diary that they always observe, they always turn up to. William, I guess, is the patron of that particular organisation. It's important he shows his face. All of the, people had flown in from Hollywood and British television and film. It was a big deal. So he turns up, and I thought his demeanour was better. He looked more assured. He looked like he was having a good day at the office, let's put it that way. He looked like he's having a better day at the office. And even though I didn't watch all of the BAFTAs, I watched about 20 minutes of it. I saw him come in. I saw that he looked okay, and then I turned it off. And just to be really real here, so you understand how these messages can come in from spirit, left of field that you're not expecting. It was a Sunday night, and I'm dieting at the moment, and I always find the weekends difficult. Anyone that's on a diet will tell you the weekends are difficult. I'd done really well all through the weekend, and it got to Sunday at about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I was really struggling with it, and I couldn't resist the temptation. So I gave in. I'm back on the saddle now, but I gave in. I went and raided the chocolates. I had a bag of crisps. I even had a glass of wine. And then, of course, I felt a bit guilty. I was thinking, oh, for God's sake, why have you done that? That was what was in my head, okay? That was what was in my head. At that moment, Spirit drops in, not put down the crisps, no. What they dropped in was, he was Arthur. And I'm like, what? What did you just say? And it came in so clear, he was Arthur. And then I heard, but he doesn't have his round table. That's why he looks so alone. Not alone because Kate's not with him, because you can still be without your partner, or you can still split from your partner or not be with your partner for whatever reason and not look totally alone. I had noticed he looked alone at the BAFTAs, but aloneness, as I say, isn't just about having somebody beside you. It's like an aura. It's something you carry in your aura. Aloneness is what I'd picked up. So when I heard this message from Spirit, which was just like, he's Arthur and he hasn't got his round table, my first thoughts, to be honest, which might be what yours are, was like, don't be ridiculous. Oh, come on, you're having a laugh. And then I thought, no way am I coming out publicly and saying that. No way, Metatron. No way am I coming out and saying that. I will be laughed off the stage. The more that I sat with it, though, the more I tuned into it, I thought, my God, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I have a very grounded husband, maybe too grounded. No, he's very grounded. He's not really into all of this hocus pocus world of mine. Not that he'd call it hocus pocus. He's very respectful, but he's very different. He's very grounded. I mean, I'm grounded, but in a different way. And so I tested it on John. I said, I've just heard Spirit say that William is Arthur, or William carries the Arthurian energy. And then I explained a little bit more about what I was feeling, which is what I'm about to tell you. And John said to me, I think you're onto something. He said, it makes a lot of sense. because you may not know much about King Arthur. Some people say he was a mythological king, a king of legend. He wasn't real. There's all sorts of stories out there. But the thing is, Camelot, King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table, they do exist in a different dimension. Everything actually exists in other dimensions. But the story, of course, is that he was laid to rest. But it was always said that he would come again during England's greatest need. It strikes me that there is quite a big need at the moment with the monarchy collapsing in front of our eyes. King Charles, very ill, unlikely to live a long reign. Catherine, we've parked lovingly over here for a moment. We don't know. There's a big question mark. Where is our missing queen to be? Where is she? William, not really standing up to his duties much yet. Why? Why is he looking so uncomfortable? Because he's known his whole life he is to be king. And it's always sat uncomfortably on him, and he's often said that as well. Harry, again, we're not going to get into the whole Harry and Meghan thing, but Harry is the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. The Queen is gone. It's looking precarious. Andrew, of course, is persona non grata over there. Nobody wants to know him. He's got no role going forward in the royal family. So is this England's hour of need with regards to monarchy? Do we need a unifying figure to come back to help us? Not just with the crown and who wears the crown and what that stands for, but if you look at the political arena, there's a very high proportion of countries around the world this year that are going to have general elections. It's something like 2/3 of the world is having an election this year to nominate a new president or a new prime minister. That's quite something. But the one thing that all countries are agreeing on, really, is that the choice is abysmal. The choice is abysmal. The choice is abysmal here in the UK. I have no great hope that the next incoming government are going to be any better, really, than this one. I'm sorry, I just don't. You can disagree, of course. But, you know, it's a pretty shoddy bunch that we've got to choose from. We have collapsing energies all around us. Those of us who are a little bit older don't recognise the world we grew up in. The advance of AI, there's just so much going on. The society itself feels as though it's collapsing. Whether the royal family continues way into the future or not, I've no idea. But for now, they're staying put, certainly in my lifetime. I don't see their demise in my lifetime. And I suspect George will probably inherit the throne as well. Beyond that, I don't know. It's all up for debate. Nobody actually really knows. Timelines are fluid. But at the moment, a strong leader is needed across the world. A strong leader is needed in individual countries. Is William somebody who can unite people, bring people together, shake off the shackles of the past, of what kingship is and means, connect with the people in a different way, do it his own way, basically? The one thing I feel very certain on is he can't do it without what I'm calling the round table. I found a beautiful picture here. I'll link it below. This is actually, it's not the real round table, that is probably, in a different realm, but this is the regal chamber of King Arthur's great halls, which was erected in Tintagel in Cornwall in the 1930s, just for a social club. And it says, the Fellowship of the Knights of the Round Table of King Arthur. Can you see? So the round table, the whole premise of it is, it's a bit like what I often talk about also in terms of leadership being, it's a circle. It's to do with governing in a circle rather than a pyramid, rather than the person at the top that makes all the decisions. It's a round table is when there needs to be agreed consensus amongst the knights as to what to do. But they are a support also to the king. Now, the next thing that happened was I have bought a few years ago, I think it's quite, I don't know whether you can still get this. This was one of the first copies of it. It's called the Arthurian Tarot by Caitlin and John Matthews. I think I actually bought it in a second-hand shop or something. It's a very good deck. It's also very in-depth in terms of the mythology. And, you know, you could spend weeks studying what's in the book and trying to get your head around the different characters and who they were and what they did and how it all fits together. So to be honest, I've only really ever dipped in and out of it. But because I was trying to decide, do I even do a video on this or not? Because I know I'm going to get flack. I thought, okay, I'm just going to ask the deck. I've hardly ever used this deck. I assume that King Arthur is in the deck. It's got lots of other characters in the deck. Let's ask the deck, is he King Arthur? And yeah, I did do this off camera. I do a lot of work off camera. This is the conclusion, really, when I come on camera in terms of the energy that's been building up, portal work, as I call it. So I asked the deck, is he King Arthur? And I got this card. Now, it's not the King Arthur card, if there is even a King Arthur card in the deck. I don't know. I haven't gone through all of the cards. But it says the Sleeping Lord. And when I read the description of this card, literally my jaw hit the floor. So you'll see, I don't know whether you can see on my camera, but basically the Sleeping Lord has got this sleeping giant in the land. There is a beautiful kestrel or eagle flying overhead. There are the people around it. There is a stone circle. And it's very much England's green and pleasant land. Okay, it's the countryside. It's card number 20. The Sleeping Lord. I'm going to read it to you. It's just extraordinary. Ready? And I'll emphasise the bits that are particularly important, although it's not a very long passage I'm about to read out. So the Sleeping Lord shows the gigantic figure of the Sleeping Lord who lies on a hill, which is and the figure is incorporated into the land itself. On his thigh stands the youthful hero blowing a horn. All about the landscape, people of many kinds, ages and eras rise out of their tombs and barrows. They look upwards to a great eagle which flies overhead. Remember, this card is pulled, is he Arthur? Consistent within Arthurian tradition is the assertion that Arthur will come again. Many hills and sites have been associated with this legend, and stories have been told about daring individuals who entered the hollow hills to discover Arthur and his court asleep therein. Usually, the finder is given the opportunity to summon Arthur from sleep by blowing a horn, drawing the sword from its scabbard, or cutting the baldric which lies near the king. But though he is tempted to do so, the finder usually returns to his own world without doing this, because Arthur may only be awakened in the time of Britain's greatest need. Yeah? Is it now, is what I want to say. It says here, the undying legend of Arthur is like the very same story of regeneration and perpetual defence of the land, a role which has been applied to many military leaders, monarchs and heroes who throughout the history of Britain have attracted similar legends. The return of Arthur is a prophesied event which can happen at the changing of the tides of time, at the turning of eons. It can happen, has happened, and will happen within the circles of eternity. Time is not what we have understood it to be, and the ways of regeneration are wonderful and mysterious to us. The card is about renewal, resurrection, recapitulation of ideas or events, prophetic vision, endings, beginning, forgiveness, adjustment, and recovery. To me, it was confirmation. It was like, okay, this is the sleeping giant energy. Is William the sleeping giant? Actually, it's quite interesting. I didn't realise he is a giant. Well, he's not a giant. He's 6'3". My dad was 6'4". He had 1 inch on him. But anyway, 6'3" is still quite big, okay? There was a picture actually at the BAFTAs of David Beckham going up to greet William, and they're all smiles, and I think actually William is standing on a step, because I looked at it, I thought, my God, I didn't know David Beckham was so small, but actually Beckham is about my height, I think. He's about 5'10", something like that. So he's not tiny, but William is big, okay? He is tall, so it's quite interesting, because this is a gigantic giant, but it's more that the spirit of the gigantic giant, the spirit of the sleeping lord, the spirit of Arthur and what he stands for, and his Knights of the Round Table can be stirred back into action at Britain's greatest need. I mean, I would say it's now, personally. And is it possible that William is carrying some of this Arthurian energy? I believe so. But remember what I said also. It's the analogy of Christ and Christ consciousness. Jesus is not going to be walking down your street in a physical body tomorrow. But people will be walking down your street, and you might be one of them, that absolutely carry the Christ consciousness energy. That's the second coming. It's the return of the Christ consciousness. So Arthur's the same thing. It's the Arthurian consciousness that comes back from a higher realm in this land of sacred mystery and Avalon and Camelot and all of that. Now, in a moment, I'm going to fill in some of the gaps in terms of who I think the other members of the Round Table are. To be perfectly honest, I've only got 3 or 4 of them at the moment. And I'm being told I can't see who they all are, because some of them are meant to be in hiding. They are shrouded. And maybe even when it is assembled, and this doesn't have to be literal. It doesn't have to be that when William is king, he literally sits round a round table with his 12 men. And by the way, I'm going to talk about the energy of men, because it's not just men, it's also women. But it's energetic. He rules like that. He has a trusted band of brethren. And even though I've just talked about women, brethren and brotherhood is important. Let me just cover this bit off before we get going any further. The thing about men and women, because I can feel, people who would like to come and, criticize this video or say, hold on, what are you talking about? 12 men ruling, all us women and all the rest of it. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because actually one of the members of this round table, who I don't know whether she will be able to be beside him his whole reign, because she's a lot older than him, but she might be able to walk with him some of the way, and then she will be replaced by another, is Anne. And Princess Anne I'm talking about, okay? Now, Princess Anne was the Queen's daughter, her only daughter. And it's interesting, I saw an article recently, and it was talking about, the collapse within the royal family at the moment. There's no Charles. William has been AWOL. Kate is definitely AWOL. Edward isn't looking too good. Andrew's obviously just over there, in the sin bin, rightfully so. We never want to see you again, thank you very much. It's all just, obviously, Harry's not there, Meghan's not here. Somebody said, I saw an article, it said, Anne is the last man standing. And I thought that was so interesting, because it wasn't an insult. I knew exactly what they meant. Anne is the last man standing, meaning Anne holds the masculine energy. You can be a woman and hold the masculine energy. I'm one of them as well. I am a woman, I am feminine, but I have a strong masculine energy. I always have done, and I always will have. Anne is the last man standing. I thought, yeah, absolutely. She would defend the monarchy to her death. So I put Anne there as one of them. But as I say, I think there will be it sounds a horrible thing to say, but like a trade-in type energy at some point, just because of her age. She's a lot older than William, so she won't be able to walk with him his whole reign. But Anne would be one. So that's the whole male-female thing. The other thing to remember, of course, is that some of the... Have I explained it enough? I hope I have, because just because they might be we all hold basically masculine and feminine energy within us. And indeed, some of the Knights of the Round Table in 2024, 2025, 2022, 2026, whenever this manifests, may very well be women, okay? But having said that, I still want to talk about brethren and brotherhood. This energy of brotherhood, the divine masculine energy, which isn't really talked about enough, I don't think. We talk a lot about the divine feminine. We don't talk much about the divine masculine. Men are struggling. Men are really struggling. And they are unable to find their foothold in this world at the moment. What is expected of me? What can I do? What can't I do? How can I behave towards women? How can I not behave? Is it okay to still hold a door open, or am I going to get that, am I going to be criticised for that? The chivalry, all this type of stuff. What's expected of me? It's a really difficult time. But the Knights of the Round Table, the brotherhood, brethren, being there for each other, it's very much like the military when the military is good, okay? So I'm not toxic military. I'm talking about a band of brothers, basically. I would give my life for you is the type of energy I'm tapping into here with regards to brotherhood and brethren and Knights of the Round Table. This is what's happened previously in the times of King Arthur, but equally, if it comes back, it's literally like I would take a bullet for you. I will stand in front, I will take a bullet for you, because I'm protecting something that's very sacred. I'm standing for something, I'm believing in something that is bigger than myself, okay? And this is to do with values. Does this mean that every single knight of the Round Table, or Arthur himself in whatever manifestation, be it William or anybody else, is perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We should stop expecting to have a hero in our midst that doesn't have feet of clay, because any hero or heroine or king or person we might look up to, whoever they are, including our own father, mother, brother, sister, partner, has feet of clay, okay? Because that's what being human is. So it's very easy to criticize people. Let's take it away from the Arthurian thing and William here. Let's talk about Christ consciousness. It's like, someone that's trying to hold the energy of Christ consciousness and practice it day in, day out as much as they can, because it's blinking hard to do that day in, day out, hour after hour, constantly being in a state of forgiveness, constantly being in a state of humility, constantly being in a state of open heart, constantly being in a state of manifesting miracles, constantly being in a state of I don't know, all generosity, all of the things that Christ consciousness is about, because we're human, and so we're going to slip up, we're going to make mistakes, we're going to be tempted, we're going to do things that we look back and we think, I'm not really very proud of that, shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done that, wish I hadn't done that, wish I didn't go down that avenue, but I have. Hey ho, let's get back on the horse and try again to be a better man or a better woman. So I want to say that because, again, bringing this whole subject of William and Arthurian energy will be, well, hold on a minute, he's a this, he's a that. And it strikes me, my friends, that in spiritual circles, how many times have you heard people say that the darkness attracts the light? And often we apply it to ourselves, and it's like, well, I'm rising higher. I've gone through that portal. I'm being a bit facetious here, but I'm just trying to ram this message home. I've elevated myself. I am now, whatever. I'm now on whatever level. I mean, it's all nonsense, really. But, it's not nonsense, but people's ego is nonsense to think that, because it's ever evolving. But the thing is, that's why the darkness is attracted to me, because I'm now holding so much light. But then when we see people in our society, somebody like William, who has been under constant attack, certainly over the last 3 months, certainly the last 2 months of this year, it's like, well, no one's ever actually questioned, could it actually be that he's holding potential of great light? Oh, no, he's the Prince of Darkness. He's this, he's done this. I mean, the things I've seen have been said about this guy in the last 2 months, He's done everything basically that you can possibly think of that is terrible. He can't have done them all, for one thing. And equally, I'm not saying I believe them either, but if it was, proven to be true, we'd come back on and we'd look at it. Because I suspect Arthur himself was flawed, okay? But it's to do with aspiring to an ideal, okay? Aspiring to an ideal. And William, for me, is at a very precarious place whereby he can't do this without his round table. Now, even to the point, I kid you not, before it's now 2:00 just gone, I started to get my camera ready and, all the paraphernalia for this video at 19 minutes past 1. And I just took this was a picture that came up on my computer. When they change the pictures all the time, Windows changes the pictures all the time, and you don't know whether you're going to wake up to a mountain, a bunny rabbit, or whatever. It just happened to be this picture of the Houses of Parliament. But what's interesting about it is, I know it's the promotion for a new Xbox game, but look what it says in relation to what I'm about to talk about. It says Call of Duty, because William holds the duty template. I'll talk about that in a moment. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is available now on Xbox. Okay? And that's interesting. Modern Warfare is available now on Xbox. Most of the horrible stuff about William is on X. It is. People get away with absolute slander on X. You can call anybody anything. You can throw any slurs at them, slander basically. And occasionally people stand up to them. But the problem with William and the monarchy is that they aren't supposed to answer back. So he can't answer back to any of this stuff that's out there about him. But isn't that interesting? Yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is available now on X. And we've got the Houses of Parliament, Call of Duty. Let's just talk a little bit about duty. I'll get back to the knights and who I think they are in a moment. It strikes me, the work that I've done on the royal family recently, what I've been trying to help us see is that they are reflections of us, okay? So even in the case of something like infidelity, where have you been unfaithful? Have you had that done to you? In the last video I did, I think on Kate and William, it was like, okay, so who do you see yourself as, or Charles and Di? Do you see yourself as the one that was betrayed? Do you see yourself as the person who was the innocent little victim? Which probably isn't the case either, because Diana wasn't completely innocent. She had lots of affairs, etc. We're all flawed. I try to bring this out. So what am I trying to say here with regard to duty? It strikes me that William is carrying a template of duty reluctantly at the moment, okay? He has a brother who he does love, who is carrying a template of something else. And a lot of people, I actually love both of them. I really like William and I really like Harry, okay? I always have done. So it's not that I don't put one brother over another. I like them both. They've got their individual troubles, but, I like them both. But a lot of people find it easier to maybe like Harry. I see it particularly in certain countries, particularly America, actually. There seems to be more love. You can disagree, but the whole thing, I think it's because it's like, well, he's free, and it's like a sort of sexy free vibe, and he's liberated, and who wants to do duty? Who wants to do duty? Who wants responsibility? God, look at William. Look how stuck he is. Now let's bring that into our own life, okay? Look at the duty we hold. Maybe we've got aging parents. It's like can be an absolute ball ache sometimes. Like, oh my God, but I've got to keep doing it because I love them and I've got a duty. Maybe you're a carer and it's difficult day in, day out. There's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing particularly free about it often. It's just roll up your sleeves, get on with it, okay? Often with no praise, with no thanks. If you're looking after somebody with dementia, probably just a lot of flack and criticism and anger and upset thrown at you by the person who's losing their mind. You know, it's like duty isn't sexy. Who wants that? Well, what about if William is trying to show this as a template? Really, really interesting. So, let's just be balanced in our view with all of them, really. With Harry, okay, good for him if he's found freedom. For William, if he's got duty, well, good for him. Let's cheer him on and let's hope that he can also demonstrate that template. Imagine if we merge both of them, what would that look like? Okay. Let's now, you see, duty as a mum. My daughter, bless her again, texting me. Can I book an appointment? Yes, of course I will, because I'm a mum, and you have the baby when you're whatever age you are, and I don't know about you, I remember having my baby and I thought, I didn't see beyond having the baby. And then, 22 years later, you're still mum, you're still doing all the stuff, and you always will be mum. You always will be mum, however old they are. It's duty, it's responsibility. And there's moments of extraordinary beauty with having children, but there's also moments of despair and discouragement and, the tough stuff. All of us parents know that. Right, let's get back to the knights then and who I think they are. And we need to bring Merlin in as well. Just looking down at my notes. The interesting thing, and I've just said I'm a big Harry fan, right? I can't yet fit Harry at this round table. That doesn't mean that he doesn't fit at it. It just means that at the moment, the bridge isn't built for him to be there. Yeah? So can I see him as maybe one of the knights of old? I can't actually. And I'm a bit confused by it, befuddled by it. But I don't know. I can't explain that, okay? So it's not a criticism of Harry. It's not a judgment of Harry. I'm not trying to say anything about Harry. I just can't quite put him there at the moment. I've said many times I believe he was Henry VIII. So he's obviously got heritage with this country, but Arthurian energy? I don't know. I can't see it yet, I want to say. So Harry, we're going to park over here for now with love, okay? Sending you love, Harry. The ones I can see. My husband came up with one of them. Stay with this, because I know it sounds really random and odd when you first hear it. But John said to me, I bet Mike Tyndall is one of them. Do you know who Mike Tyndall is? I've got a photograph of him here. Mike Tyndall is married to Queen Anne's daughter. Really interesting. I was just about to say Queen Anne's son, even though I had Zara in my head, because again, Zara has got she's got quite a masculine energy. Maybe Zara is maybe it's a pair of them. This is William and Mike Tyndall, photographed a while back. Brotherhood, brethren. Can you see that? It's like, I know there's all sorts of speculation out there about William and his sexuality and all of that. I don't personally see it. I might be wrong. What I do see here, for example, in this picture, is bromance, which is not anything other than genuine affection for being with a like-minded member of your own tribe who just happens to be the same sex as you. Let's not get on to William's sexuality in this video, please. I want to stick to topic. But that's Mike Tyndall, okay? So obviously, genuine affection between the two of them. He's married to Zara Phillips, Queen Anne's daughter. It was actually John who said Mike Tyndall, and I suddenly thought, Mike Tyndall? And then it was like, yes, because Mike Tyndall, put it this way, knights of old, knights of the Round Table, some of them were like bruisers, It's like they weren't just sort of like, oh, well, if you want to win the battle, win the battle. No, these were like big bruising warrior fighters. He's a rugby player. He played for England. Mike Tyndall is like a big bruiser, I I don't know what he was, but I'm putting him there, okay? And remember, what this round table represents is a trusted circle of brethren who, when William becomes king, he can rely on, and who will just be there for him, who help him govern in some way. He can't do it without them. I did also, again, weeks and weeks ago, I remember reading something in the paper when there was all the stuff about Harry and William, and there always is some story about them. And it was something which was talking about Harry being maybe a little bit, not envious, that's maybe not the right word, but his nose being put a little bit out of joint by the growing friendship and solidarity between Mike and William. It's almost like, because this looks brotherly, this is brother love. And it's like, but Mike's not your brother. Well, he is actually, he's brethren. But it's like Harry's like, but hold on, that's my brother. That's my brother. So, yeah, interesting. So we've got Mike Tyndall. That's courtesy of John, but I think John's right there. The next one is another John, Johnny Thompson. Now, something's happened in the news today with regards to Johnny Thompson. Do you know who Johnny Thompson is? Johnny Thompson is the King's equerry. Equerry? Can never say that word. Again, the speculation with regards to Johnny Thompson, which I'm not buying into. He does look a bit like a cross between William and Harry, I have to say. But again, I think it's just brethren rather than brother. Johnny Thompson is the King's equerry. He also used to be the senior bodyguard for the Queen. He came to prominence, I think, particularly because he's so hot. Sorry to be so shallow, but it's true. And actually today in the news, it's said, if it's true or not, I don't accept everything that's in the papers, but it's said that he wants to step back from the high-profile public role he's got with Charles at the moment, because he's finding being in the spotlight challenging. He wants to be more behind the scenes. And when I heard that this morning, I thought, hold on a minute, I was just about to talk about Johnny Thompson, and now he's saying he doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Have I got this wrong? And then the more I felt into it, I thought, no, because the Knights of the Round Table and Arthur mirror each other. So if Arthur, William, at the moment is having a big, gigantic wobble in terms of I can't do it, I don't really want to be out there in the spotlight, his Knights of the Round Table are going to be mirroring that to him. I think Johnny Thompson, I really see him as being one of the knights, okay, the future Knights of the Round Table. This isn't knight in terms of I knight you, sir, none of that. This is all energy. I just feel that very strongly. Okay, so there's him. I've done work before when I channeled JFK Jr., who, yes, I do believe is dead, okay? And I said at the time that I felt JFK Jr. had a Lancelot energy to him. So I believe he's dead. But then again, could he come back, or could he already have come back? I remember channeling or looking at the energy of, oh gosh, what was the person called? I can see him in his mind's eye. JFK Jr.'s cousin or somebody. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but I'm just bringing JFK Jr. into it because I feel somehow his energy's hovering around this. Princess Anne, I've already said. Harry, I'm not sure about. That's as far as I've got, guys, okay? But the point is that it's not assembled yet because William's not king. But it will assemble. It will assemble. And of course, the other thing that Arthur had going for him was Merlin. And that's the realm of magic. And, at the moment, William is the Prince of Wales. Wales, how many times have we been talking about Wales recently? Wales and the dragons. I don't know. It's just... it's when he becomes king. I saw years ago that when they put the crown on, there is that moment where, Spirit comes down, Holy Spirit comes down, you're anointed king. And at that moment, you are given the gift of being able to lead, effectively. And And maybe then that's when Merlin steps into his energy field. That's the clarion call to the other knights. Okay, well, let me just see what else I've got down here. One other thing I wanted to bring in that you might not be aware of if you're not in the UK is William, this last week, released a statement on the Israel-Gaza war. Now, this is a complete break from normal procedure. The sovereign, I know he's not sovereign yet, but the king, he's a king in waiting, is not supposed to interfere in political matters. It's just the way that it is in our country. We have a prime minister that does that, okay? So this was a big departure for William to actually make a statement with regards to the war and what's going on. He was roundly criticised for doing so. Just trying to find the thing where he actually said what he said. I'm going to read you what he actually said, because it's almost like he's between a rock and a hard place. He can't win. If he says nothing, it's like you don't care. If he says something, he has the whole world coming on him saying you shouldn't be saying it. I absolutely feel that when he becomes king, it's not that he's going to be meddling in politics per se, but when he sees a cause that he passionately believes in, he is going to speak up. He's going to break with tradition in that way. This is actually what he said. He said, "I remain deeply concerned about the terrible human cost of the conflict in the Middle East since the Hamas terrorist attack on 7th of October. Too many have been killed. I, like so many others, want to see an end to the fighting as soon as possible. There is a desperate need for increased humanitarian support to Gaza. It's critical that aid goes in and that the hostages are released. Sometimes it's only when faced with the sheer scale of human suffering that the importance of permanent peace is brought home. Even in the darkest hour, we must not succumb to the counsel of despair. I continue to cling to the hope that a brighter future can be found, and I refuse to give up on that." I personally thought that was a very well-worded statement. He wasn't putting himself in either the Israeli camp or the Gaza camp. He was asking for the release of the hostages and for increased humanitarian support to Gaza and for a stop to the killings and the war. And, you know, apparently I did read that it was approved by the Foreign Office, and also he had sought the counsel of certain rabbis as well in the UK before he released it. So he didn't do it just willy-nilly. He did it, it was considered. Right, I'm going to now pull some cards, I think, and just see if we can get anything else on all this. Hopefully you're finding it interesting. I've got a deck here. Again, I pulled this off camera. I'll pull another one, but over the last few days I asked about him, and I got kangaroo, and it comes up with Earthkeeper, sacred dreaming and spiritual activism. I was particularly looking at the word Earthkeeper because it ties into that card. Where was it? The one about the sleeping lord, the Earthkeeper. Definitely William's going to be championing the rights of Gaia, Mother Earth, standing up for the environment. That's a given, like his father has always done his whole life. So he'll be championing that. But there's something here about an Earthkeeper of the land. I mean, all countries have them. You all have, hopefully you have, you don't always have, but over a course of a generation, hopefully there's a leader that rises who comes from the land, is what I want to say, comes from the land. But spiritual activism is interesting with him as well, isn't it? I do feel he holds a lot of light. I think that's why he's being so attacked personally as well. But I'm not blind to the fact I'm sure he's not perfect. You can have a temper and still hold a lot of light. You know, we're all a work in progress at the end of the day. Those without sin cast the first stone. Has never been truer. Let's pull one more card from here. This is This is The Fey Elder's Guide to the Higher Dimensions by Billy Dean. The card that's come out is forgiveness. It's about letting go, self-love and compassion. It's got a quite Christ-like figure holding a lamb, the Lamb of God. And those are very gentle, soft, heart-led qualities. Could even be walking in the Scottish Isles or the Welsh mountains with all that cloud. Forgiveness. In William's lifetime, may very well be bringing in the energy of forgiveness, linked into colonial crimes of the past. I think that will happen. I think he's the man for the job. I don't think he has any want of control in terms of hanging on to parts of the Commonwealth that don't want to be part of the Commonwealth anymore. I think he's at peace with that. But generally, the energy of forgiveness coming in. This could even be the big one, you know, in terms of if the truth about Princess Diana's death ever comes through, asking for forgiveness there as well from the ones that may or may not have ordered it. All of that. Right, let's pull a couple more cards from this Arthurian tarot. Where is it? I might have to refer to the book quite a bit because, as I say, I'm not very familiar with it. And I can't even find the deck now. Where the hell has it gone? Okay. Oh, it's here, right in front of me. How are we doing for time? 51 minutes. I mustn't make this too long. Okay, I mustn't make this too long. People don't watch the really, really long videos. Okay, let's pull a couple of cards. And I'm just going to say, what does Spirit wish us to know? So William, King Arthur, the Round Table. What is there to say? Where are we? Where are we now? We've got the White Heart, card number 6, the White Heart. And we've got this one, 2. I'm going to have to read from the book. I know these are quite pivotal cards. They are also major arcanas. Let's read the first one, which is number 6, the White Heart. 6, the White Heart. So it's the Lovers. It's probably a nod to what's going on with his in his marriage, maybe. It says, in a forest clearing we see, excuse my pronunciation, I'm going to get it wrong, Geraint out hunting, transfixed at the sight of Enid, who sees the White Hart coming towards them. Hold on, they've got pages and pages of stuff. I just need to get to the bit that's... Let's just get to the overall archetypal meaning. The White Hart is the otherworldly messenger into spiritual adventure and the purity of love. Those who hunt it are drawn deeper into themselves and made aware of the pure power of love to overcome all obstacles. It also represents the silver chain of sexual desire, which is between men and women, but it also enhances that desire into love that is strong as death. It's about the testing of love in the ensuing story. And okay. I think we make sense of it with the next card, which is Pryden, which shows a ship being crashed against the shore. So we've got the Lovers crashed against the shore. It's the otherworldly journey undertaken by all seekers so that the inner life becomes the basis for a sound outer life. In this card, faith in one's abilities and the true strength of one's determination are tested to the utmost. By the balancing of hard work with periods of contemplative insight, victory is gained. Victory, self-confidence, self-discipline, determination and courage. I think this is just a nod to what's going on with him and Kate at the moment, whatever that is, okay? crashing against the rocks, precarious, storm, but we've got the card of the Lovers and the white heart energy coming through there as well. There's a dove of peace. It's a beautiful card, actually. Can you see it properly with the camera? Let's pull one more. So if this is William and Kate, I don't want to get into this in this video. I've already said it. We've got sword 3 of swords, which is an ending. It's a bridge collapsing. All we can do is send love to the situation between them at the moment. I don't want to read on it at the moment any further than I already have. Okay, it feels like we're just invading a very private, difficult time. I will come back to it when more is known, but we've got the Lovers card, we've got a boat smashing against the rocks, and we've got the 3 of swords with a stone bridge that is breaking in two. Whatever's going on within his marriage, let's go back to Brotherhood. Whatever's going on within the marriage, the Brotherhood and the Knights will still assemble. He still will be king. Now, I was watching a video by somebody called, some of you might know him, he's an American reader called Aphrodite, I think. Young guy, nice guy. He's got a lovely energy. And what I like about him is any subject he reads on, including the royal family, he always has just such lovely people commenting, never has any horrible trolls. So he's doing something right. Anyway, he did a reading on Harry and William recently, and I watched it. And it was around the time when I'd had this information dropped in from Spirit about Arthur and William. Now, Aphrodite wasn't reading on this. He was just reading on the state of the brothers. But what he basically said was the fact that Harry and William, the brothers, their ultimate reuniting will happen, and it will be a case of the wives being told just to butt out. Meghan, butt out. Kate, butt out. It's as though that female influence, not saying it was bad, he didn't say it was bad, he was just saying it's not about the women in their life. This bond of brotherhood is, and he couldn't understand it, he was saying for some reason it's more important than anything else. If you watch his video, you'll understand, because I'm paraphrasing, but when I was watching him, I was thinking, you're tuning into exactly what I'm talking about here, but you're not maybe knowing the bit I know, you know? I don't mean that in an egotistical way. It's just like I've got a few more pieces of the jigsaw here, is what I felt. Because he was literally saying, I just see both brothers saying to both wives, or energetically, it's like, this isn't about you. It's not about Kate. It's not about Meghan. This is just about brotherhood. It's about the two brothers having a higher purpose. And somehow, in some way, they have to rebuild it, and they will. It's really interesting. So, yeah. So we'll send love to the marriage. We'll send love to all parties involved in this, really. Let's end with a card from the Art of the Soul Oracle, and then we're going to end with a blessing. And thank you for watching. This is a very Arthurian deck, so let's see. Haven't shuffled this one for William, so let's see. So for William, thank you. Defend what is dear to you, Artemis. That is him defending the crown. We've also got visualize healing. You see, of course, there's a big part of me that I don't want to believe that Kate and William are no more. I want them to be happy. I want them, even if they've got difficulties in their marriage, I want them to be able to repair it. You see those cards that I showed you earlier with the broken bridge, the ship on the rocks, the Three of Swords, the Lovers. That could also represent her health. You know, it could just be her health. That her health is on the rocks. Her life is hanging, you know, by a thread, or has been. It's completely brought them to the edge. There is no way back, is how, maybe to her former health. That could be what it is. And so here we've got the card of him. This person is shooting arrows of healing towards this woman who looks very like Kate. So that's another interpretation. Remember, tarot, oracle cards, it's always open to interpretation. Should never take anything completely literally. There's many different ways we can interpret cards. So the burning of sage we've got here. Because again, in my previous videos with regards to William and Kate and what's going on with them, I talked about psychic attack or worse. And this is the card of sage. This is William defending what is his. Is he defending the crown? Yes. Is he defending his woman? I hope so. Is he defending his marriage? I hope so. But time will tell. Time will tell. And then I think I've had this card for him before. This is Seek a Wise Elder. Now, Lord of Lyonnaise. That's what he needs. He needs a mentor. I've said that, I'm sure, in a previous video. He needs a mentor. And I guess that would be Charles. But yeah, what happens if Charles is not here? Who is the elder mentor then? He needs somebody like that in his life. I got a flash just then of Lord Spencer, Diana's brother, but I think he's been a bit of a, player in his time. I don't know what he's like now. Maybe he's matured a little bit. We've also got the card of regeneration, death and rebirth, and the great goddess. Oh, as I was talking about Diana. Maybe that is a nod to Diana. I don't know. Earl Spencer, is he somebody that can mend the bridge between the brothers? Maybe he can. Maybe I feel that's what Diana would like to happen. Whether it's possible, I've no idea. Earl Spencer keeps himself very much to himself. Don't really see much of him. I believe he does have an Instagram page, and I know this sounds a bit random, but I'm just going to see what his last post is. I don't follow him. Charles Earl Spencer, here he is. Yeah, this is him, 181,000 followers. No, that's not. That can't be him, is it? Oh, he is. Is that actually his official page? Because it says Charles Earl Spencer, rabbit hole detective, podcaster, writer, and look after Althorpe House for this generation. That can't be him. It is him. It is him. Well, we all remember him from Diana's funeral. What was his last post? He's talking about the rain in England. Yeah. Anyway, that's what he looks like. Earl Spencer. Is he one of the Knights of the Round Table? Maybe he is. He's standing in front. Can you see? He's standing in front of a portrait of some noble aristocrat there. Who's that he's standing in front of? What king is that? Or is that somebody like Nelson? I don't know. I don't know my art well enough. Anyway, let's pull a card for Earl Spencer. I'm sorry, I'm just intrigued now. I can't remember what his speech was when he, Diana's funeral. Wasn't there something about defending her name and honour and all of that? And looking after the boys. Find and hold your lady of the Oh, my God, we're tuning into something here, guys, aren't we? Diana is Lady of the Lake. She's buried on Althorpe Estate, on the island, by the lake. She's on an island in the lake at Althorpe, which belongs to her brother, Earl Spencer. Oh my God. Because no one's ever seen where Diana's buried on that. It's really private. You can't get to it. You have to take a little boat across to get to where Diana's buried on this island in the lake. Oh my God. It's something linked into the Arthurian legend. It's the sword, the lady in the lake. Maybe I shouldn't say, I feel as though I've suddenly gone into something, maybe I'm even not allowed privy, I shouldn't be putting it public. I'm going to leave it there. Lord Spencer is part of this. He's going to help William. He's going to help Harry as well behind the scenes. He has to bring them back together. Diana wants him to help bring the boys back together, her boys back together. The Lady of the Lake is calling. Oh, wow. Well, hopefully you found this an interesting video. I've certainly enjoyed doing it. Did we get a blessing card? No, I haven't done that yet, have I? Okay, let's do a blessing card. I don't think we did, no. Blessing card. So with regard to William, let's give him a blessing. And remember, the Knights of the Round Table, so it's about bringing back these traits, these what are called old-fashioned traits in our society, but they're so needed. Chivalry, respect, nobility, manners, honour, loyalty. A blessing of protection is what William's got. He's got a blessing of protection. So he's protected. He is protected. Okay. And then I think I'll also pull a Keepers of the Light card for him. Let's see what guides he has around him. Probably got all of them, but let's see. What's he got around him? From this deck, anyway. I like this picture of him. This was him turning up to the BAFTAs, I think, the other day. Or it might not have been, actually. I think he was wearing a dicky bow to that, but anyway. He was wearing the same jacket. He got criticised for that. Wearing the same jacket again. He can't please everyone. He's just got to find his own path, forge his own path, and fulfil his destiny. And he will do. But he's going to need these brothers around him. Right. Okay, let's just see what energies are around William at this time from this deck. Keepers of the Light. Ganesh. I'm laughing because if you saw my last video on Julian Assange, we had Ganesh all over the place. And we've got Ganesh again. We've also got Saint Germain. Violet Flame. We've got the Violet Flame depicted in a few of these cards. The cards of Sage and Visualize Healing has got a violet. It's got a violet little land there. So Saint Germain is about karma releasing, moving beyond drama, creating your own path and making room for good energy. So if I was William's spiritual advisor, I'd be telling him to violet flame his path wherever he goes, violet flame the palace, violet flame his apartment where he has been with Kate, violet flame his auric field, violet flame, just violet flame all of it, really. And then we've got Ganesh. Ganesh is with him. I see William and Kate have travelled out to India before, haven't they? But anyway, I was talking about that because of Ganesh. Okay, so I feel as though William is going to have links to the to India as well in terms of just, I don't know, it's a bit like Harry has a soft spot for Africa and likes to go to Africa and, you know, do good work. I feel as though India and William, for whatever reason, there's a link there. And Ganesh is saying obstacles are being removed, spiritual support and connections are increasing. So that's interesting because Ganesh is coming in and saying, I will be the one that helps you to clear the pathway, yes, but also to restore the links that are broken between the members of your round table. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. We'll come back to it when we have more news, but I hope that you found it interesting. Thank you for watching. Lots of love. Take care, and I'll be back with you soon. I think the next video that I probably will be... No, I'm not going to promise. I'm not going to say what my next video is going to be because I literally don't know from one week to the next what Spirit asked me to do. So, you know, you'll just have to wait and see, as will I. Have a good weekend. Lots of love. Bye-bye for now. Bye.